But it's about which I'm trying to do. He's going to video for us. Bring his food to Jack.
I'm Jeff.
Your book is sold out on Amazon.
That's okay.
But I can get it on Kindle. This book is sold out on Amazon. There's not a good. So I couldn't buy it. Well, I was going to actually buy a couple and circulate them because I thought that
You know what? Here's the thing. Cancer meetings, talk to cancer. I'm giving away more books. I get them here. I'm not sure.
No.
You don't make any money.
I like to have books, but I long books to my mother's pack up. So yeah, it's like
But it's actually
videotaping. I live in Jersey He helped her. He worked in the library and she would come in and he helped her write that, published it, she bought her book. And I'm going to buy a book, she's probably sold 6 books. But you know what? It's important, you know, that you, and I was going to buy a couple just to share with them. I think it's important to me. But I was sure I saw it today. But I want to tell, I tried to look and it says not available. What's happening? Done it to Amazon. It's a temporarily out. Hey, and I don't like Kindle. I read Kindle. I've got one. Something's out. You do well because I don't share.
I talked to John. They're wrong.
I wrote an article on it. What kind of guy?
He's really big. He was nice today though.
coming in the gate. I think it's that time of year where you just get
Right, I mean, just as far as there, but you can see, there's a sundowns. Where you going?
So we just went through.
Hi there, how are you?
You do want to know.
Zucchini, so I switched. I just cut some names to make sure I that's my
Because I got to see the front row. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Appreciate it. This is kind of a dry one until Saturday's annual meeting, so I've got a bunch of stuff to go through with you guys, a bunch of handouts. I want your opinions. Since you're the members of the Water Corporation, you kind of own it. I'd like your opinion on some of the things that we're working on to get ready for Saturday and also to get ready on next week. So if there's anything, this is an open forum town meeting. If I'm not saying something right or missing something, just let me know. Renee and I've got a bunch of stuff to get through, but I'm going to start this off. Memo came out about the fire hydrant, okay? The one out in the front and the locks that were put on. Sorry about that, but I put the locks on a week ago last Thursday. I went out of town, out of the country on Friday morning at 5 o'clock. I did not get a chance to get to the water company the keys for it, but they were inside my hangar. Nobody called me. Now, why did I use those particular locks? Because the fire marshal told me to. This is the text message from the fire marshal with that lock. Oh, that looks familiar. There's his number if anybody would like to call the fire marshal. Guess who the fire chief in Spicewood reports to? He reports to the fire marshal, so I went to the top dog to get his recommendation that he sent me when I ordered them. The reason why they're only on the 2.5 inch, he goes, Jeff, nobody brings a 5-inch pipe out there to steal your water. It's always 2.5 inch, they're way too heavy, and so on and so on. That's why they're only on the side ones, the 2.5s. If we have to cut the lock for some odd reason, hey, they're locks that we buy at Home Depot. They're pretty safe and they're pretty secure. That's why we went this route. Recommended by the fire marshal. Here's his number. Here's validation of what it is. Now the keys are in the office. AWR has a set so they ever have to purge it and so on. If there is a fire company will use the 5-inch one. If they need to get the 2.5, they'll cut it. I've already talked to both fire chiefs. That chief over there, that chief over there, and of course the fire marshal.
Is it locked? No?
Yes, it's been locked since I left on that Thursday.
So there's a couple locks sitting on top of the wall.
Those were probably the ones they cut.
Okay.
So yeah, she came out. Tammy from AWR services. They cut the lock. She called me. I called her back an hour later, but by that time the locks had been cut. I said, you should have called me because my keys were sitting right inside the hanger. And I forgot to tell this boy that when I was leaving. So it was just a miscommunication. But that's the deal. Question?
And how much is a replacement block?
$20.
20 bucks?
$20. It's a lock you buy at Home Depot. It's a lock you buy at Home Depot. The keys now are over in the. I just didn't have a chance to. I got it Thursday night. I wanted to satisfy a member request, and then Friday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm out of town. So that's that.
When are they gonna fix the other fire hydrant over here?
We're working on it, Bobby D. Working on that. Okay. Let's get to the other stuff. Well, maybe I'll switch gears here. Not do that stuff first. Talk about the new rate structures. That will go into effect. We'll talk about what happened and so on and so on. I've got some handouts here with some exhibits. It's not for everybody. So take a look at these. You can pass those out. I may need one. Anyone. Yeah, anyone. I think I only got 15 sets. So let's go through them.
Do every other? Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, I see people too. Here's the next one. If anybody needs one, you can pass that back.
There you go.
Again, this is just an example. This is if. The reason I planned this meeting was we were hoping that the final rates would have gone through last Thursday at the PUC meeting, and they didn't. They just didn't. It's a little snafu. We can talk more about that. I just got off the phone with the lead attorney on this whole thing. So this is an exhibit of the new rate example. This is based upon this memo that came out on the 25th of January. This was the suggested rates from the commission. If anybody wants the full report, here it is. But this is what the commission published. So these are the examples. So if this goes into play, it's not an official order yet. I was hoping it would have been for this meeting, but it's not. So it has not been finalized by the PUC yet. PUC filing from the 25th. That's what this is. So the new rates, if you were to come on board tomorrow, is $110.04. Okay? That's a brand new customer. Brand new person coming on board today. Okay? This is, again, not in stone, but this is what they recommended. Some of these things could change. Okay? You would also be issued a refund on the same billing statement of $75.62. Okay? That's pretty big. So what does that mean? That means your total membership water billing of 171 taps is $34.42. That's what your bill would be if these rates get implemented.
Better than 150.
You're right, it is.
178.
Okay? Okay? Now, this is just your base rates. This does not include, this is the base revenue. This does not include standby fees, new taps, new memberships, or multi-tiered ranges. They're also in this report that went up to the PUC. Okay, that we were hoping would get voted on, and we're going to talk more about that. So, look at my monthly base rate revenue. $9,400. That's my operating revenue that I would have under this rate. Go to page 2. Yikes. Look at my AWR monthly base expense that I have. $11,750. Take that from my monthly revenue. I'm $2,367 short each month. Now again, that does not include any of the tap fees, new memberships, and multi-usage fees. So right off the bat with just base rates, I'm $2,400 in the hole every month. These rates, as you note in the notes, are for customers between the days of March 23rd of 2020 till 12/23 of 2023. We hope 45 months. So anybody that was in the water service during that time period would get this rate and the refund. So if you were in there from September of 2023, you would get 4 months off. September, October, November, December. Then you'd be back on the 110 rate because you got your 4 months because you came on, you've only been a water service customer for 4 months. If you've been somebody that, like me, who's been on there for 2 years, I'd have 24 months at that new rate with the refund. But you got to look at how the hell we make up $2,400. That's just for the service to provide you clean water and sewer. That does not pay any CPA firm. No offense, Renee, but you don't have any money. Doesn't pay for any legal. Doesn't pay for anything. So you guys as a membership of the corporation and us as together have got to come up for a strategy how we're going to make up the difference on that. We've got some ideas. Renee and I have been kicking around this for the last, since it came out, for a month. But I want you guys to be aware of that right off the bat, just base rates, base expenses to provide you water and sewer, I'm $2,400 in the hole. And again, if these go into play, that's what we're going to be faced with. So we're going to be on a tight budget for the next 45 months if this goes into play. Yeah. Okay? Now we got some money left over in the bank. We're working on those amounts, Renee is, and that'll supplement to pay our expenses. But there's other things we can do, and I'm not saying we're doing this. Don't anybody think that I'm going out rogue and getting people involved and shit. I've seen traffic on the internet about it. Today I got some information about the land sitting behind my hangar. We could put that up for sale. But you guys decide that. I don't. Regardless of what you hear on the shenanigans on Nextdoor and everything else like that. I don't have authority to sell that, nor will I. We'll get it appraised properly and sell it. But that could be a big influence of cash. But we are looking at all of our real estate. I just got the 2 title commitments back, and Renee, haven't sent it on to you. It just came in at 5:30. So I apologize. But it came in from Heritage. So I just have the boundaries of it in the deeds. Not appraised. No appraisal. It just says, here's your title and here's what your restrictions are on that property. I haven't looked at it. Remember, we haven't looked at it. The corporation probably hasn't seen it. 30 years knows what it is. But now I've got Heritage to, has given me those details as of 537. Some of you guys should consider it. Why not? We're going to do the same thing for this property over here on the other side of Exeter. But those are things we're working on it. So, you got to figure out how we make up the difference, people. We think we can with standby fees, new taps, and multiple user rates, or do we sell some more?
Can you give us an idea what the average of water rates are? 0 to 3,000, 0 to whatever. Overall, how much does the
use
monthly? How much does that?
Yeah, I think you could.
I don't have my spreadsheet with me.
Oh, bummer. But we did some analysis on it.
Yeah.
Right, Renee? Renee did some analysis. And let's put that as a question. We'll address it on Saturday. Good question. We'll have information for you. Hence, that's why we're doing this. Now, one of the things we're working on is we're trying to figure out all the people and when they signed on for water. And we have that spreadsheet, I think, already done. Because we did a lot of legwork just in case this came through last Thursday. So, just in case. So, we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of that legwork. And we have those all in spreadsheets and stuff that we can tell you. So, we'll know exactly who I am. What I have water and sewer. There's some people who just have water. There's nobody who just has sewer of the number of taps. So, again, if it would have gone through last Thursday, I would have been billing that on March 1st, but that didn't happen. So, let's give an update on what's going to happen here. What I heard today, just got off the phone with somebody that was at the PUC. They're hoping the rate case will get put on the next agenda, and the rates will be the expenses that were blowing up on the internet by people. That's going to be put into a separate docket, and that'll be ruled on separately of additional expenses. Brian.
Thank you for taking my question. We need to back up a little bit.
Sure.
So I recognize the numbers on the first page coming from the commissioner's proposal, right?
Yep.
So what is, forgive me, what is the AWR?
AWR is our service provider. That's the people running our water plant.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the ones that have been running it since September.
Okay. So
and now they have a bigger case because they took over for George from the 13th.
Okay.
And we have a contract with them. Renee and I looked at it. We just got the initial changes back. I mean, they had typos, they had missed dates. I just got that back. We will not execute that until a board meeting. That, it's got to be reviewed by the board, and they actually come and present their contract to you guys.
So what is the $2,300 difference?
Well, that is my monthly revenue.
Oh, no, I can
Oh, okay.
calculate that.
What do you mean?
The commissioner said it should cost this much
Yep.
to run the plant.
Yep,
And AWS says it's gonna cost $2,300 more.
yep.
What is the difference? What composes the $2,300?
Cost of service, we'd have to ask AWR that. It's almost half of what George was charging us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
This does not include any of their other supplemental services. This is just basically to run the plant. And Renee and I had a meeting with them, a couple weeks ago? You should see the list of things that they want to do to correct our plant. They were quite surprised that our plant is still running. They see a lot of cost advantage, they see a lot of wasted money, wasted chemicals, and so on. They're putting together a whole big report for us.
so,
And this is from an engineer. They have an engineer on staff, and this guy has been looking at our stuff, and he's like, this is some, we're held together over there by duct tape. And this does not include it, but in their services contract, and I'm going to publish it to the users, it'll list everything that they got in there.
right.
So,
Well, the reason why it doesn't surprise me that much is because this proposal is based on a particular point of time
That's
looking
correct.
back.
that's correct.
So that's the expenses to date, all the rigmarole to date,
Yep,
not including the legal expenses.
that's correct.
So you haven't had that discussion.
I haven't had that discussion with
Okay,
anybody
so
just yet.
we're already have to come up with this much just for, as you said,
Base,
just the basics.
just to process clean water and process your sewer water.
Do you have any way to quantify what could be over and above that? Is
We're
there
working
like
on
a
a budget.
percentage?
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
just hired a new company.
Yep.
Do they have like a percentage that says, across our customer base, 20% above our base costs
Yeah.
is what you can expect for these?
Renee's handling all that. I think you're going to present a budget at the
Yeah,
annual
the
meeting.
budget is, but there's not a foreshadowing on the legal stuff.
Yep.
Because we probably have two parts, general counsel and litigation
Yep.
areas.
Understood.
I mean, we anticipate in our budget of just spending $3,000
Right.
a year on new legal. We got to keep ourselves out of hot water. I'm telling you, we got 45 months of pure pain. We can't break a thing. We got to pray that a pump doesn't go out. We got to pray for a lot of things over the next 45 months. Because if this comes into effect, this is 45 months worth of pain and agony. Sorry.
So
I didn't put you in this situation. Neither did Renee.
There's no.
Yeah,
blaming.
I'm not saying that.
I'm
This
just
is
after some information.
we're coming forth and saying this is going to get ugly if this goes into effect. And this would have happened on my next billing cycle if they would have ruled on that last Thursday.
When you said if this goes into effect, what do you mean? What?
Well, according to one of the lead persons that I got the phone at 5 o'clock today, and Merritt would be more than happy to talk to anybody out there. She told me that today. She has no problem talking to anybody. If anybody has a problem with how this thing is all structured, this rate case did not get the rates themselves has not been, there's not an official order on it yet.
Right.
What was opened up was an expense docket now, a whole new separate thing. And we'll get into that next.
Right.
That's a whole new separate thing. So this can get put on the next agenda. They could implement these rates for us. It's a separate docket. It's a separate order than what they were talking about at Thursday's meeting.
Right.
So we got to get on the agenda.
Right. So
It's all in PUC's hands.
I'll just mention briefly that when I read this and posted what I posted on Nextdoor, I didn't see the reason for jumping up and down because number one, the commissioner put a stake in the ground and looked back and then did all the calculations up to that date.
Yep.
And very clear to say, this is the operating expenses and the revenue. This is not the legal expenses. The legal expenses we will handle as a surcharge as they
Yep.
should be and should have been. And therefore, we haven't talked about the really ugly stuff yet, I think.
So that's the rate case surcharge expense right at the top line. It's right there. That's what they
but
calculated out.
that's 2020 or whatever that date was,
No,
looking back.
that's based upon the COBO memo of December 13th of the 478,000.
Okay.
If you take the 3921 times 12 months, or times 45 months, that would equal, times the 271 people, that's what it would equal to. So $39.21 times 271 users times 40 months, that equals the 278, which is in the COBO memo from December 13th.
But again, that covers the legal expenses to that date, right?
Well, and
Not after.
I'm going to pause you on that because I'm coming to that.
That's why I-
Yep, absolutely.
We haven't talked
But
about
yeah,
that.
but that's from the dates that I have in here of to the effective date of 12/23/2023. This date right here, that date range. That's what they wanted. That's what they were hoping to just put as a surcharge. It's on that second page. So it's March 23rd of 2020, which is when the new rates or the current rates went into effect until the ruling came out on 12/23 of 23. That's what they based it on, 45 months of expenses.
I'm gonna just say
Yeah.
okay for now, 'cause
Yeah.
I think you have more to say.
I got more to say about that one, that's for sure. Okay, any questions on that?
Thank you.
Could get ugly.
Just, I have a question. Go ahead, Mark. So, assuming these rates were implemented, what would happen if someone who's been here for 5 years moved out? Do they?
Great question. We were putting together a process to find those people. We have to find their forwarding address. We would make a resolution to the board. We'd do 2 attempts on the refund amount, and if it kept coming back and they didn't respond, that money would become ours.
But I mean, if someone moved out next week and these rates went into effect, would they have to be paid in a lump sum, or would it still be?
Haven't worked out the details, but we don't have any money to pay them. So yeah, but we have to find them. It's going to be a requirement for the WOWSC. But yes, and we are absolutely working on anybody on the spreadsheet who's moved out and what's their forwarding address. But we would do 2 mailing attempts. That's about it. Nobody responded back. We would have to write, because this new rate structure, by the way, gets audited. Every 6 months? What was that, every 6 months?
Yeah, that'll be limited.
Yeah, I think every 6 months they come back and look at our books, especially on the refunds. So we got a big audit trail, and something like that in regards to, did you go out and find those people? The answer would be, we did 2 attempts, and we'd have to satisfy the PUC commission on that, on what that. So,
So I have a question. What's the likelihood of us foregoing the rate of the refund and just moving forward with the rates? Did you talk to?
I did talk to Mary about that. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. But let's talk a little bit about that. According to what I heard at 5 o'clock today, because I spent an hour on the phone with Miss Merritt, that is one possibility that we can present. I'm going to talk more about that whole, the surcharge that could be applied to handle that in my next set of documents here. So if I could defer that, maybe I'll answer to the next question. But one thing we did come up with, and I did ask Merritt, okay, what if we did something crazy? And the commission would be open to this. Let's say you don't take your refund. Let's say you say, well, I'm not going to take my refund or whatever that dollar's amount. We could put it into a separate account within the Water Supply Corporation and use it for infrastructure use. The PUC would audit our books to make sure we are putting it towards that, but we are going to present that to the committee, to the members when these finally come out. Because I want you to think about that.
Could you use that towards the deficit?
You could. Yeah, when I threw that question to them 2 weeks ago, they were like, interesting idea. Because I said, I'd donate mine. I'm like, I donate mine. The way I looked at it is this. Now, bear with me a little bit on this story. So let's say in 2020, we didn't have all this legal shenanigan bullshit. But we wanted to put a new clarifier in the plant. Okay? Do some infrastructure. Whatever it is. Put your mind back to 2020. We would probably, as a board, come to you and say, hey, we got a capital expenditure. We want to put a new clarifier in the plant. It's going to cost us $200,000. Are you willing to take a surcharge for that? To upgrade our plant, our facility, because we need it. You guys might have said yes. Maybe. Just speculating. So what's the difference of you giving me my monthly refund back and me putting it towards capital improvements in 2024 versus me asking for it back in 2020? Just give that some thought. That's why I came up with that crazy idea. You know, maybe we'll donate our, you know, refunds and put it towards capital improvements, only in capital improvements, audited by the PUC, because in the compliance filing, I will get audited every 6 months about these new rates. Question?
No, it's just a comment. So if you're into this for 45 months, like we are and many others are, it's $3,402.90.
Yep. What the total refund is to you. Okay? Julie?
When you talk about the clarifier, what happened to the co-bank loan?
Well, I'm just, no, you got to remember, I'm going back to 2020. I'm going back. Just put yourself back. But there's a lot of things we got to do. We got infrastructure problems. We got pipes breaking all over the place. It's just not clarifier. Co-bank loan, we're working on all that too. We'll do a full accounting at the annual meeting. But yeah, there's $1 million worth of improvements that need to be done. And ARW is sitting back, and they're not going to take advantage of us. They're going to prioritize it and say, you should do this, 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 and this.
Can we see that statement, please?
Absolutely. It's not going to be done in a vacuum, Josie. These people come monthly to our board meetings.
I'm asking you if you're going to see them have it budgeted out and what the expense is for that.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Yep.
So
and we don't. By the way, we have to pay for that program. It's going to cost us some money because that's a detailed engineering drawing, engineering assessment, which is what we talked about last summer, of our full operation of the plant over there. They have found a lot of problems. Renee and I were sat in a meeting with the president and the CEO, the founder, and they were like, "We see a lot of shit. Renee can vouch for me. I'm not making this shit up."
I know. I've lived out here for a long time.
Yeah,
I know exactly
they're astounded by They're astounded that we can produce clean water for you at the level that we're doing. They really are. And that's just, you know, old neglect and money that was being spent on legal versus money being spent on that. Which gave me that crazy idea of saying, okay, if we wouldn't have been spending on legal, would we have come to you and asked you for a capital expenditure to put a new clarifier and do all these wonderful things? Yeah, we probably would have, so we would have had these assessments on there anyways. We'll give us your refund money back and we'll put it in a big account and we'll do it towards
Julie's right about the bank loan.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, that was for $678,000 as a line
capital
of credit.
improvement, yep.
So I want to know if that money was used to actually improve. Plus, the clarifier, if I recall correctly, that clarifier has already been replaced.
Not with an official clarifier. Not with a true clarifier in the water term world. I'm just giving you the information from AWR.
Where are we at on the audit?
Okay. Good point.
I hear a lot of stuff, but because I know what's going on the inside, you didn't get the numbers till recently. Yet you're talking about this, and I requested the financials for the last year and have never been provided financials by anyone.
Well, from the standpoint of the audit, the organization that was previously to be identified, that was under contract to do the audit, that should have started back in December, there was a side discussion somehow that got to them that told them to take a back seat and do nothing. As a result of that, working with Montemayor, Bender, and Binder, these are the organization that is now going to be taking over our bookkeeping, and they're doing QuickBooks online instead of the desktop bookkeeping with QuickBooks. So Lori is an input only to that, but all of this, the QuickBook is going to be online. The same organization that I use abbreviation of MBB. Okay, will you just, Montemayor, they're a CPA organization, registered professionals that are based in South Austin. They will be doing not only the bookkeeping for us, a separate arm does, and it's separated department will do the audit work for us, and that same separate area that does the audit has the skill sets to do our taxes.
So unfortunately, we know that the last 4 to 5 years, the taxes have not been done right. And so that'll have to be done again. But the audit is there. We've received, we have provisional contracts with all 3 divisions of MBB, but those have not been validated or ratified by the board. So that's one of the things that's going to happen this Saturday evening at the board meeting on the 24th, the ratification of that. Based on that ratification, the audit organization, our team, is going to have, they've got a list already of about 12 to 15 different sets of documents that we have to provide. And so based on getting the chance to get to the books, get to the records, get to clean contracts, then we'll be starting with full speed ahead to get the preliminary information into the audit organization.
So, am I hearing that you don't have the books yet?
Well,
I'm sorry, I got here late. I just
no, that's absolutely right. I'll be honest with you. Everybody knows that I've not had a chance to study those books. Okay?
But you have them.
Yes.
We got all the data.
Yeah, we have the data, and it's been loaded up into QuickBooks, and the accounting organization is doing the work on the general ledger and stuff like that. So we can, in fact, build it backwards. The irony is, and this is one of the things that was requested way back with Tim Norton, the CPA organization that was under contract with George Burrs. Everybody resigned on the same day, January the 13th, right?
Yep.
Which is great. All 4 parts of our accounting work. That organization says we knew, and it had already been discussion with Tim Norton, that we should have been, because of all the legal stuff that was carrying over from year to year to year, on an accrual basis instead of a cash basis. And unfortunately, they were still staying with cash, and questioning the CPA face to face, the guy goes soft in answering that. Okay, but that was fundamentally wrong. They've also, the question that Julie asked was about the co-bank loans. There've been 3 steps of co-bank loans. Okay, the T's and C's on the co-bank loans is that they are not supposed to be commingled at all, and they're supposed to have separate accounting. Guess what? They've been commingled. Books have been kept to some degree. We've not had a chance to go backwards to find out about them, but there are funds in all 3 of those levels that still are there, okay? We have to verify that. But that's always combined in a money market account at First United Bank. So,
Do we
other
know
parts
what
of
the
your
loan
question?
balance is, by chance?
As they do, and I'm sorry, I don't have those with me. I should, because I could.
But you'll have them ready on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
These are good questions. These are why we wanted to get this town hall.
So the balances, as well as a budget for running for 2024. The spreadsheet work that I've been doing has been pulling their actuals for the last 2 or 3 years. I'm not going to worry about the last 2 or 3 years, but I'll give us at least 2 years so we can do a comparison with each one of those chart of accounts, those elements. What was expended, what is what was budgeted, what was expended, and where our budget would be for 2024 for each one of those. And I'll have that as a handout for everybody.
We're what, 36 days in since we got all that data?
Yeah.
Basically. Because we got it on the 15th.
Well, and I was really grinding my molars, asking for all that information. Yeah, and they were pulled a long time ago. No, it says too much truth. But
let's move on from your dental problem.
Tim Norton gave me 45 pages of printout. He says, this is your general ledger for your records. So I had to enter it all by hand in order to be able to build the budget expenditures that were done and then build the provisional stuff going forward. A few minutes of work.
All right, so since I actually asked the first question, thank you, Josie. And because I actually inserted myself into this a whole lot more than most, and Curley and whatnot, David Curley. So we're basing all this off financials that a CPA firm that we know was grossly misreporting the numbers. That's why I asked about it, have we had an audit?
That's
We're
true.
not going to have an audit before we start making financial decisions?
Nope. You can't, because right here, if they apply these rate structures, and this is one of the things I talked to the commission about. Danny, you can roll your eyes, you gotta talk to the PUC about it. They're using the rate structures based upon 2020 data. I can't change that. I've tried to. I said to Merritt, Merritt, why are we doing these? He goes, that's what it is. Go talk to Merritt if you want to.
That was actually what was given to them.
Exactly, what was given, and we don't know how valid it is.
That's absolutely correct.
We don't know.
Thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
What
I
is?
have no idea what the financial status is of this corporation.
Yeah.
None.
Danny, what I want to do
No, that's not true. Danny, that's not what I said.
Dan,
No, that-
first of all, Jeff, we're not getting, this is just question and answer.
Well,
You don't
I-
have to
I-
get ugly.
I'm not getting ugly, but that's not what I said. So make sure that you document it correctly. All I said was the PUC put these rate structures together based upon 2020 expenses. They didn't even look at our current. I asked her that. Go ask the PUC why they use current or 2020 data. That's what was submitted to them in the whole rate appeal case.
I sure would like to have all the financials. I asked for them.
I
from
would-
Let
Yep.
me talk. I asked for them from Burris. I know that he was skimming. I am absolutely positive of that. I was never given any financials. I'd like to see it all. I asked you, said you were going to send me everything.
Well, we're trying to. We are trying to get it.
You said you were going to send it to me a week ago.
Well, and we're trying to get it. We're trying to get a clean copy. It's been 36 days, Danny. I mean, there's the guy who's got the data.
I sure would like an
Right.
audit.
So my reading
We
again,
will be getting one without a doubt, as soon as possible, Danny. It's important.
Yeah.
Renee?
Yes.
Hang on. Julie, excuse me. Brian had a question.
thank you. My reading again of this proposal was that the commissioner was very careful, put a stake in the ground and say, from here back, we are going to evaluate. We are only going to retain $3,000 of the legal fees in this analysis.
Right.
Because they thought that that was a fair amount to include for this period of time in legal fees. And then they said any other legal fees are going to be a surcharge.
That's correct.
They did not handle that in this proposal. They were purposeful not to include the legal fees. It's a mess, they didn't want to get into it.
Nope.
That's what I think.
That's correct. You're absolutely
Now,
correct.
when you mentioned earlier, Jeff, on the second page of the handout, you mentioned the 12/23 date. The 12/23 date is not the date from there back that includes all the legal fees. It is the second part of the period, 3/23/2020 to 12/23/2023. That is the period in which everybody was overcharged.
That's
And
correct.
that is the basis for the refund.
That's correct.
Okay, so don't.
And what they base the surcharge on.
Right.
And the surcharge.
Well, you have to be careful here, what surcharge, because does that pay for all of the legal fees that are in the surcharge, that 23 something dollars a month or whatever?
It's $39.
$39 a
But,
month?
yeah, and I'm going to defer your question because I'm about ready to talk.
Thank you.
But I want to come back
I
to
just want
that.
to point this out because.
Absolutely.
Because stuff's going back and forth
Yep.
here and it's not accurate.
Well,
It's accurate to a point,
yeah, it's accurate to a point. These are the numbers that they're giving us, but how they're going to be applied.
but it's in the context of
Yeah,
that
how they're going to be
period.
applied. That's correct.
Thank you.
Julie,
It was to Renee. So Renee, you've got all the data. Are you gonna be able to at least figure out what we have left of the co-bank loan?
Absolutely.
By Saturday?
Yep, yep.
and what we have in savings and everything else like that.
Correct.
All right.
Does it have to be a blanket deal? I like your idea of just foregoing the refund and putting it in.
We're going to take it up for a vote.
But the thing is, if some people can't or don't want to or not able to, then.
Yeah, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? How do you feel about that, members?
Doesn't have to be 100%.
Yeah, how do you feel, Brian?
That's been mentioned a couple times. To me, it's taking money out of one pocket and putting it in the other.
Absolutely.
You're gonna give it to me, I'm gonna put it in my left pocket, and then I'm gonna pick it, I'm gonna put it in my right pocket.
It's all got to
the
be
same.
audited.
What we need, Renee, and you guys, and I think Julie mentioned it, you need a full accounting.
Yep.
Not just the period context in question here, right up to today. What are we on the hook for? And then we have a discussion on how to pay for it. And by the way, what I'd like to see happen, honestly, is for everybody to bury their hatchets and their implements of war and say, this is the cutoff. The past is the past. It is gone. We will clean this mess up and have a nice, honest, fun neighborhood.
That's correct. Hallelujah.
Let's hope so.
Okay. Let's go on to the next thing.
May I address
Absolutely, go ahead.
your comment as well? Just learning about there are several coins, things that are being juggled at the same time.
Yes.
Specifically with the commission not coming out and making the statement, this mandating that order, okay? The irony is that and it's good that February the 24th, unless something really strange happens, there will be a majority on the board, okay? And that majority of the board then can make some pretty significant decisions.
Sure.
One of the important decisions is going to be talking about the funding and how this works. Because we don't have an order mandating that refund, okay, and we don't have an order that mandates what the water rates are, because that order is not there. What we've been talking about is we know that the ratepayers' valiant battle for the last 3.5 years needs to go into lowering the base rates.
Right.
So what's been suggested is that on our own volition at the board, number one, lower the base rates for both the sewage and for the water. Number one. Number two, because the mandate has not come out to make the refund, forego the refund at this point to try to get stability in some of the funds that are coming in, and because the mandate for the new rates, which using the spreadsheet are terribly, terribly regressive. I'll give you one example at all, okay? Out of 301 meters, we've got 278 basically payers, but 301 meters. The top 11 meters are using 37% of the water and are only being responsible for 15% of the funds, of the revenue coming in.
That rate table is in that example that I gave you.
It is.
Now that's terribly regressive.
Right.
When you see that rate table, you'll see that the numbers that Ms. Gibbons used, she was looking against what exists now at the rates that were set in 2018,
yes.
Okay, and suggesting the new ones, and without exception, they are going down for the high users of water and for the people who use zero water or from 1 to 2,000 gallons per month. Their rate went up. That's so regressive, especially in the world of drought.
Right.
So if we have the choice of not doing that because there's no order, so the proposal that we're chatting about is leaving those rates the way they were, which would be, you'll see that the top rate is 15 per thousand for those, instead of something like $13, okay?
Sure.
So we leave those rates as they have been, lower the base rates, and forgo the refund. At the same time, one of the things that Merritt mentioned to us was that she couldn't understand, because way back when, there was a question even to Jimenez. It says, why is the equity buy-in rate, which is set way before 2018, $4,600, and why is it not $10,000 for buy-in? Over the same period where it was set, so it was set in about 2014, that number, the values of property in the area have gone up by more than 200%, and yet the buy-in equity has stayed the same thing. So the suggestion is, and that's not impacting any one of us, the suggestion is immediately with this new little tariff thing that the board can talk about on the Saturday night, move that 4,600 to 10,000 for equity buy-in, which gives us some funds. It's not going to be a lot, but it's some place, and we're trying to level that. So the idea is that, and I've done the drafting from the standpoint of the technical term, the board has to make a statement and everybody has to sign it. Okay, sorry, senior moment.
It's okay.
Um,
all you have here is senior.
The resolution?
Thank you. Great word, resolution. So the resolution that we've been chatting about is that move the equity buy-in, reduce the base rates, everybody gets a benefit for that. The water flow that they have been paying in the past for the January stays at the same kind of rates, okay? And we forego the refund. And that may give us a chance to put some money in the coffer without taking it from the left pocket to the right pocket, and it gives us a chance. And so that's one simple, clean way to start.
Very
These are
well
things we
stated.
want to
I
talk
just
about
have-
on Saturday. Right.
Right. Very well stated, Renee. Just one point. How are you sure that the PUC will not stipulate that refund has to occur as part of the deal?
Oh, okay. So, compliance filing. Under the compliance filing, which we've executed, I'm waiting for the order to come through, so I still have to wait for the order. There was 5 areas in the compliance filing that they found wrong with our corporation. We agreed to it. I agreed to it. It was the 5 things. I started that compliance filing. I should say Patty Flunker did for me. She encouraged me to go do it. She wrote most of it. It started off with election. Because when I sat across the table from LG, this was my first experience with LG. We're going to spend some more time on LG tonight. I sat across the table from them and I showed them a ballot. I lost by 1 vote in 2022. I showed them a ballot that was double marked. Cole Reyes, Joe Jimenez, Rich Schaefer. Mark Carpenter and I had all this whole booklet of documents, provisional votes. I pulled that out and said this should have never been counted. Cole Reyes looked at me and said, well, first off, you should have an attorney here, Jeff. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. And I like Mark Carpenter. I said, he's my attorney. And by the way, he's packing. I did make that comment because he looked like a Texas Ranger the way he was dressed. And they're like, what? They got all. I'm like, no, I don't need an attorney. Why was that counted? And the 2 of them, Joe Jimenez and those 2, we're going to count it. I looked at Cole Reyes and I said, are you out of your mind? What kind of lawyer are you? You cannot allow that. No election would allow a double marked ballot to be counted. They allowed it to count. He took Joe Jimenez's side. And then they looked at Rich and Rich was nodded. That's what put me into a fury about LG. And we're going to come back to LG in a minute. But that's what started the compliance filing. So one of the things that we have, there's 5 things. Our election procedures. I think we've done an awesome job in the last 12 months to change all that. Independent auditor. We got so many security things on that ballot now that this guy has put together. It's crazy. I talked to you about all that. The bill mailings, nobody touches them. All goes back to Frank and so on. They like what we've done. So we're going to pass that audit. The other thing is record retention. They hate what we do on record retention. It's going to be on our compliance filing, which means I got to update the website. And we're going to take your ideas. Why are you not getting these communications? Why are you not allowed to put comments on our website? So on and so on. Why don't we have why do we have not corporate email addresses for record retention? What about all of our documents? It sucks. If you remember, I brought that up in a meeting, and they said, oh, take it over. Well, I needed some money. Nobody gave me any money. And George wouldn't turn over the keys to it, but now I have the keys to it, and I got people that are going to help us on that. So that's one thing that the commission wants to see. The other thing is membership. We got to analyze our membership. Who's a member? Our LLC's a member. Our trust. How is the trust define a member? And so on and so on. That's another area that the PUC found from the rate appeal case of shenanigans going on, and we got to do a better job. These compliances get audited by them annually. We're under a 5-year guardianship of the PUC when the order comes out. It's not out officially out. 5 years. Every year I got to report back to them. So we're going to have a compliance officer assigned to the board. Where's Judy? She doesn't know her new role yet. But yeah, we're going to need somebody because there's so many audits. So that's membership. The other one is rates. I cannot do a thing with rates when the order comes out unless it goes to the PUC. Surcharges, anything, rate appeals, anything has to be approved by membership and has to be approved by the PUC. Can't do anything. I can't do shit. I'm surprised nobody's asked me, hey, can I go in and raise those rates? Nope. I'm locked in it for a year. 1 year I can't touch those rates at all. There's not even a hardship. I went to Mayor and I go, whatever my pump breaks or the plant burns down, got to figure out a way to do it. You can't raise your rates. You can come to the commission on a hardship, but most likely they're not going to give it to you. That's what all those dockets are for rate increases that you see in those things. We can't do a thing for 12 months. We can only do a rate increase and a surcharge one time each year for the next 5 years. That's in the compliance filing. So I can't touch any of those things. And we're looking at it. I mean, Renee and I were on the phone with her going, you got to be kidding me. They're like, no, we can't do a thing. I couldn't even roll back if that went into effect last Thursday, it would happen in the next billing cycle in 2 weeks. I go, you don't even give us any runway? I said, we don't even have all our information and say, you're killing me. She's like, no, it'll go in effect immediately if that order, once it's in. But does that answer your question? So we're under a 5-year compliance filing, and they will look at us. They got us under.
Well, I think the conversation at the time had to do with coming up with a good understanding of really what we owe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then determining how to pay for it. And now you're saying that we're learning more here. Now we're learning that not only will we have a lot more to pay, but we will not be able to change the rate structure for a year.
Correct.
So please continue with your unleash.
That's good. I know. That's why I wanted to have this town hall. Now I know I'm going to piss Josie off with this one. Anybody think about that? Jay, just okay, go ahead.
One quick related question. Does that 1 year period also restrict any one-time assessments, capital improvements, or anything else?
Nothing. I can't touch those rates at all for 1 year. Assessments, surcharges, rates, and so on and so on. Goofy little ideas that always pop up in my head at 3 a.m. in the morning. Josie, just hold back for a second because I know you're going to think I'm crazy. Do you know that I can lower your rates with a board and a membership approval in the next 60 days, and I don't need the PUC to tell me that?
That's right.
You guys do know that, right? I don't need the PUC to tell me that. I don't need the rate appeal to go through.
That's what Joe could have done.
Joe could have done it.
When?
We could do it, and Renee was just talking about that. We could do that at any time. We can lower our rates. But we got it. Hang on a second. We better do it quick, because once I come under that compliance filing, I can't touch rates. So you guys got to think about that. We could do it as a community, lower the rates, and don't have to wait for the order coming from the PUC. God, I didn't piss Josie off. Wow, I thought she'd
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay. That's right. We can't do that. We can do it as a community, lower the rates. We can accept what they gave us, or we can accept some to it. Now, as Renee pointed out, we don't have to get the refunds back, but we might be ordered to that by the PUC at some point, but give that some thought. Crazy things go through my head at 3 a.m. in the morning. So, anybody else have any questions? Anything good?
I do.
Go.
So with regards to lowering the rates now, how does that affect the PUC? We're still under a 5-year contract with them?
That'd be under compliance.
Until an order
Yeah,
is
so the order comes out.
generated,
Yeah.
we're under our own control. And
Right.
that's what the proposal is, for us to jump in right now. And then if we can show the stability, then it gives us a ground to be able to address what's happening.
Yeah, once the compliance order comes out, I'm locked in.
Well, and the only reason I say that is because you guys are only on the board for 2 years, so let's get facts, okay?
Yeah. Now I want to go back to Jay's question about I'm locked in. So let's say that order came through, or when I do our rates and so on. I would probably apply for that in September, October, because it's going to take 5 to 6 months to get it through. You do not wait for the 12 months to get over, because it's got to go all the way up through the commission. They said, they told me, Mira told me, she goes, yeah, if this thing goes through, I go, Mary, you're killing me. She goes, I know. Apply in August, September, and even if it got approved, it wouldn't be able to come into effect until that annual, whenever the annual was. So it could be sitting out there. We know what the new rate is, but that's kind of limited. Okay.
Do you need a percentage of all the owners to take action like that, or just of the vote?
No,
2/3.
Yeah, 2/3.
2/3 of all.
Yeah, who would not want their rates reduced? But it's a good point.
I wouldn't be doing the PUC if that were the case.
All the no votes are no.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
The language in the USDA bylaws and in ours, interesting enough, ours have been just terribly bastardized.
And Renee, let me just stop you, because let me just stop you real quick. That's the fifth one. I couldn't remember what the fifth one was in the compliance. They want us to rewrite the bylaws.
Yeah.
The PUC compliance filing has the bylaws. Take it, Renee. Sorry.
Okay. The decisions based on membership votes are based on a majority of the quorum when the bylaws are written properly. And the quorum is defined as the people, the members who are participating in the vote, which means that, for instance, the one that's happening on February the 24th, it's the sum of the folks who sent in votes before and the sum of the folks that are voting at the minute. That determines the quorum, and the quorum typically would not be the 278. It's typically around something like about 140, 145, and it's a majority of the quorum that makes the decision. Okay? It's a little tricky. Now, the point you were talking about for the 2/3 is talking about an amendment that goes to the fundamental documents. The fundamentals are the articles of incorporation for us, or for the POAs, it would be the CCRs. That's where the bigger number is. But we can do a lot of decisions ourselves. But there are, the bylaws are so terribly written that in fact, even since 1997, the paragraph that talks about members petitioning, having the right to have a members meeting, the language even then was set that it had to be a majority of the membership, which is terrible because that puts you at more than 140 to say affirmative. That is wrong based on chapter 22 of the Business Operations Code. It says as the base, it needs to be 10% of the membership. And so ours still has 50%, thanks to the lawyers, right? The other one was the terrible one is the vacancy and removal. And that's the one that Patty was up in arms for absolutely the right reasons, because it was exactly, and we can't tell whether it was bastardized on purpose or by just slovenly incompetence. Pardon my French. Okay, but the idea, it's the same thing. It goes to that same. It's the majority of the quorum that would make the decision for the removals. So based on that, the removal votes would have been drastically different.
Now, I mentioned that one of the compliance things is they do want us to rewrite our bylaws. We're going to make a recommendation on Saturday that we put together a committee, 2 members, 1 board member, to look at all the bylaws and how we enhance them and change them, but then they have to go towards a member vote. They just put the whole package together because, you know, we need help from the community on doing that. But we're going to get on that really quick. We want to get on the new bylaws really quick. We're going to use some of the templates that we've got, our bylaws, the USDA, and send a group out. But it'd be 2 members. I'm going to recommend 2 members and that.
To foreshadow, if I may, because you're talking about this one, which is the Bylaw Restatement Committee.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reserve that term, Bylaw Restatement. Restatement in the legal circles is a complete rewrite rather than amendment. So it's a bylaw restatement. And the proposal that's been talked about is a committee specifically for that, exactly like Jeff was talking about. But the idea is that we want to be membership strong in those activities. So other ones, for instance, ever since day one, there's been a credentials committee, okay? It was tacit in the past, but that's going to be active. That's, again, a committee that's very, very important. That runs these election stuff. Yes, you're exactly right. Danny's on it. Hallelujah. So we've got a credentials committee. We're going to have the bylaws restatement committee. We know that we've got to put some strength and authorization behind the legal committee. It's been running as a solo pilot. Each one of those committees is required based on the fact that they have a commission from the board of directors. They must meet with minutes being taken, and those minutes need to be produced for the board to discuss when the board has its regular meetings or special meetings. So the board gets a chance to find out what the committees are doing, because they're the Mohicans that are running in a small team. You got to bring it to the big team. So we've got the bylaws, credentials. We're going to have the legal committee. We want to have a finance committee as well, because the Finance Committee needs to be working from the standpoint, in the past, the finances have been done by edict by either Jimenez or by Mr. Schaefer, okay? One person, no briefings to the board, no board knowing about it or any of that kind of stuff. That's patently wrong by state law and by our bylaws. So the idea is that under this accounting setup, running with the online QuickBooks, we're going to make sure that there's going to be segregation of duties. And that's a term that's used in GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Procedures, which ironically enough wasn't even known or is not accepted by Tim Norton, but it's required in Chapter 22 of the nonprofits. They're the only ones that have to do accounting by the accounting CPA structure, Generally Accepted. So that's one. We want to make sure that every disbursement, whether it's small or large, under the Finance Committee has at least 2 parties involved. From the standpoint is the person who's placing it for a payment, it could be an invoice that comes in that's a small puppy, you put it for payment, a separate person releases that payment. The rules for the Finance Committee should be such that it's not $12,500 for the general manager to be able to pay without any discussions with the board. That's in our current bylaws. Gag a maggot. The finance, I mean, that's a polite term, but the Finance Committee should have the authorization for small, repetitive stuff that's in the budget. If it's under $1,500, they can do that still with a 2-person. You get it in, you handle it, you send it off, and you make a list, and that list goes to the board. This is the small stuff that we handled, who got it, what the value was, and when it got paid. The big stuff that's bigger than $1,500 goes to the board. And if it takes more than 30 days worth of wait for an invoice to be paid, so be it.
Okay, that's just some of the committees. I got a couple other ones that we need to look at. I guarantee you nobody knows how much real estate we own.
I think Patty does, and that is something that I definitely want to have people in this community take part in.
It's great. Like I said today, I got the title commitments and everything from a heritage title for the property behind me. I'm going to work on the other one, but it needs to go to a real estate committee so we understand what we're holding, just in case we got to dump one off.
Right.
Yes,
Because we may need some funds.
and marketed in all the aircraft. And all the aircraft magazines, like the other stuff, should have Trade a Plane, Live a Whatever.
Well, we got to find out if we got easements, what's available to us. All it is title commitment.
We were told by Jose I almost got ugly, De La Fuente, that there's a taxiway easement to the back.
Well, that's what I want to find out, Danny. That's what the real estate committee's going to find out. We got to find out about all the real estate on this side of the road. Where's it at? Who's got it? Because we don't know. Somebody told me it's like $2 million. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what the boundaries are.
I think there's 21 over here.
Yeah, I don't have no idea. But some of it we need, by the way. AWR needs some of it. So, because we're behind. We're behind on our affluent field.
Get a price on it, whatever value, and liquidate it, because I believe that is what's continuing the ugliness here.
Yep. Well,
people just waiting around.
That's what we're working on.
Paying attention to
That's
snatch.
what we're working on. So, okay. Let's move on. Yeah. Anything else for next?
Okay.
So these are some of the things we're doing.
I've got a question on those 5 items that the PUC wants changed or amended. Did they give you any drop dead dates they got to be done by?
Nope. 1 year from when the order comes out. So 1 year when the order comes out.
Some of the fine tuning, for instance, they're going to mandate that we do an audit. And the thing that's scary about the audit is for everything that the PUC requires audits, it has to go into a repository, a center of database, and the deadline for that is the 1st of June on an annual basis. So that's scary, because I don't think it's possible with first of all getting our arms around the books, getting the records, and getting an audit organization that's good to do that. It's possible, but anyway, we'll be busting our butts on it.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, the next big thing, dear to my heart, is Lloyd Gosling. December 13th, 2023, 5:37 p.m. Jeff, Rich, I'm providing you with the COBO's memo in advance of tomorrow's hearing. Okay, great. Thanks, Jamie. I just read it. My message came back to her at 6:04 p.m. You'll understand why these dates are important. So I responded to her, Rich, Cole Reyes, and such on it. Oh, the commission adopted the COBOS memo this morning, blah, blah, blah. The PU staff is informed, blah, blah, blah. That came to me the following day on the 14th at 1:33 p.m. Directly to me. Yeah, I know about that. My response to her, already on it, thank you. We will take it from here. Now, Jamie Muldean was the lead attorney on the rate case from it. We will take it from here. That was 4 minutes after she sent the original one on December 14th.
Yes.
Okay. Then I sent it off to one of the members, and to look at just so they were informed. Cole Reyes gets involved. The following up on Jamie's email, bears the note of the Commission's COBOS memo. The Commission authorized Windermere to recover rate case expenses through a surcharge to be assessed over the same number of months that applied rates were in effect to reduce blah, blah, blah. Okay, that came from Cole. He had to chime in, bill us some more money. He's an idiot, by the way. Okay, that came in on December 14th at 4:19. 12 o'clock or 11:57 that same date from me to Cole Reyes. Coles, please have LG send me the accounting expenses directly to us. We will file with the commission. At this point, the rate case is concluded. This is on December 14th at 11:57 p.m. We will take it from here. The overall strategy to fight the ratepayers was flawed in so many ways. This should have never happened in the first place, and I wish the board at the time and LG would have seen that from the beginning. Again, forward those accounting expenses so we can file with the commission. On the 14th, Mr. Cole Reyes responds back to me the following day. Respectfully, the rate case is not concluded. It probably wasn't because an official order wasn't out. An order hasn't been issued. There still remains the possibility for the ratepayer to file a motion for a rehearing where they would like to talk about it with me, or are you both available for a Monday at 3 p.m. call to discuss the strategy, blah, blah, blah. I write back the following day, no, it's concluded. The PUC has ruled we will take it from here. The ratepayers will not file a rehearing. I was making an assumption, Josie, I apologize, but I didn't think you were going to appeal the COBO memo. The PUC ruled in their favor, meaning the ratepayers' favor. In the future, it's always good idea to have the members' best interest in mind. This was clearly not shown here. Having the pulse of the membership is a valuable tool, which I have. I was bragging a little bit. I will attend this meeting out of courtesy and will present our next steps as we move forward in a positive way. Any legal action at any meeting will need committee and board approval. I don't mean to shout out, but somebody fucking threw me under the bus and said I authorized that, but right there is proof that I did not. Right there, I did not. It said you needed committee and board approval. And what did LG do on the 20th? They submitted that without authorization from the board or from the legal committee. Documented.
So everybody.
I'm not finished yet, Danny. I'm not finished yet. Okay, hang on a second. I'm not finished yet. I don't care.
You are a fucking liar.
I am not a liar.
You are a fucking liar.
I am not a liar. It's documented right here. It's documented right here. The next day we had a meeting at 3 o'clock.
You're a liar.
I was on the phone.
You're a liar. You
whatever
should
you want to
resign.
believe.
You should resign.
The last meeting you left early too, though.
No. I have the text messages.
Don't leave early.
No, I have the text messages from
3
him.
to 4 years we listened to election integrity. That was the theme. Okay, that was the theme. This is your election integrity.
No,
If you don't let them, let's go over to Jimenez's house.
No.
This is election. These guys are
He is
working their
full of shit.
I did not authorize this.
Hold on.
Danny, do you think I
This is the
authorized
same
that
guy that
20?
sat there and asked me, do you think Joe Jimenez would really cheat? Yes, and we proved it by walking down the counter
I think
balance.
there's more than cheating.
You lied to them, Jeff.
I didn't lie.
You
Who
did
did I
lie.
lie to?
I have the text messages.
What did the text message say, Danny?
You left the last meeting early too, and
Yeah,
he was
what did you left the
addressing
last meeting?
stuff.
He just pointed in my face, started dropping F-bombs, and he's
You're
a liar.
right.
You're a
you put
liar.
me on a Friday.
You're a liar.
Are you telling me that I
You're a
authorized the
liar.
20th?
Yes.
Fine. Show me the
You-
text
that's
messages.
exactly
I
correct.
have it right
And you
here
said-
in writing
and
to
you
LG
said-
from the legal subcommittee that they needed board approval.
Verbatim, you said, I told them not to file it on our behalf.
On our behalf?
Whose behalf are they going to file it on, Jeff?
Well, that's on our behalf. They filed it on our behalf. It wasn't me who authorized that. I told them in a goddamn email.
You are the new Joe Jimenez.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So,
Wow.
Jeff, let me
Okay.
address.
So hang on. Okay, go ahead.
He leaves and then
So let me
moves
address
and
something
moves.
here, which I think this clarifies everything. What ends up happening is, you may have said no, but they filed it under Windermere.
Exactly.
Because, here's the deal, here's the reason why. Because they can't legally file under themselves. They have to legally have a party to file under.
Yes. Yes.
So when you, I don't know what the conversation was, but I don't know where that went, but frankly, if you gave them any openings, and you know LG, they're gonna ramrod
They're going to
the
ramrod it
membership.
right through. That's why I said in here, committee and board approval. Because Schaefer was on the goddamn email.
Can I summarize for just a moment? Both you guys and everybody that's crews is my distillation of this. It says, because we know that LG has notoriously, all four of the folks are ethically bankrupt, and you can say that's a Rene Frenchism, or ethically bankrupt. But the idea is that at this point, I do believe that we need to engage, and even though it may not be cheap, it's going to be a bargain. We have to engage legal authority that really has some teeth in it. And the organization, interesting enough, is one that Patty introduced me to. It's this Davis and Griffith guys who are just absolutely salivating to get a chance to attack Lloyd Gosling. My opinion is that we need to engage them immediately to go in to address the fact that Lloyd Gosling is this ethically wrong. They did not have authorization. You've got written proof of this. We get a chance to embarrass him. We get a chance to close that docket that's only going to extend things. And we get a chance to show some credibility to the PUC that we're still fighting for the right stuff.
Right.
Okay, and let's go one step further here. I'm not of the opinion that lawyers of any means can help us through this because they're kicking the can down the road to get the payola. Why cannot we do, you have all the stuff in writing? Why don't you go to the Texas attorney?
Board? Yes. Yeah, I plan to. Let me finish what I'm doing.
Okay.
So
May I address the comment? Okay, so it shows you're absolutely right. Everybody that we've run into that's had anything to do with WOC, we had Zeppa, there was an abuser. We have the LG. What was the name of the other guy who has 16 felony DWIs on his record?
Flores or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So for whatever reason, a string of, believe it or not, platinum-plated losers have been engaged. But I do believe that there is a time to take the lawyers to fight, and I think this is the right one to do. And again, it doesn't have to be expensive, but we need to make sure that we've got the right procedures because we can get thrown out if we don't have the right process.
I agree.
Okay, let me
I
finish.
want to disbar these suckers.
Absolutely.
Let me finish.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let me finish, please. Okay, so that's December 20th. That filing goes up. I get blasted by emails. Did I authorize that? No, it's right there. It had to go to board approval. I would never authorize that. I was a committee of one. The reason I said board on there because Rich instilled himself as on the legal subcommittee as ex parte. I don't know if everybody knew that. He was attending all these meetings. I said no. And then that's why I said you've got to have board approval. Stand down. Why did they make that filing when I told them a week before that, you're done, we're done, don't submit anything? They still did it. I talked to Merritt about it today. She goes, yeah, they did it. Does everybody understand that?
Jeff, the history is the history. So
Yeah.
what we've got to do
is
think about not rehashing that. Let's move forward with how we're going to attack
I'm
it.
really pissed off about what was said about me. I get that.
There's strong emotions on you. We need the passion, but we need to move forward.
I'm moving forward. Let me figure out what. So on the 20th, that went in. I talked to people, let it go, so on. What did I do at the first board meeting in January? Ask for LG to be fired.
January 11th.
January 11th.
Right.
10 o'clock in the morning probably was the 10th item. It was the meeting that they were walked out. I said, hey, let's put it on the table. I want to fire them right now on the 11th of January. That was how many days past that filing? 21 days. 22 days. I wanted them out. Couldn't get them. Why? Because Dorothy and Rich wanted to keep them. Okay? So now what I have is I'm like, okay, you motherfuckers. Excuse my French. I'm going to nail you on the 24th of February because I had her vote right there. That resolution, that was our ace in the hole right there. Judy Miller coming on board unattested.
Rich did not want, he voted against it because he said that they will start charging us an interest. So that's a reason to keep that lawyer on?
I know, but in the meantime,
No.
So since then, I went out and had a couple meetings with Jose De La Fuentes. I said, Jose, you can either leave on your terms or our terms. And our terms aren't going to be pretty. Because I'm gonna freaking roast you on a press release that you've been fired by a water company for incompetence and putting us through $1.2 million and doing all these filings behind the scenes. By the way, does everybody understand that there were 400 filings on the rate case? Half of those are from us. Josie's that makes 200 that they did. Do you think did they ever bring any of the 200 to you guys? To the board? Hell no. LG was doing it all day long. I noticed it on the, when I got involved with them. It was ridiculous. And they were charging us. We didn't know a thing about it. I mean, 200 filings on just one side. There's over 400 in there, right, Josie? It's ridiculous. I mean, you talk to anybody in the PUC, they just can't believe how many filings. But anyways, so in the last 30 days, I've had 2 meetings with Jose. And we've worked on a term sheet. Now, if you think about it, Jose, this is on to you. Everybody's panicking about this order that comes out, this new docket about they're trying to get more expense money.
I know.
Because what I'm trying to do is on there is to have a settlement agreement with them. Nobody agrees with me on this.
No.
But I'm telling you, this is from an attorney.
What attorney?
Yeah.
It's my neighbor. His name is Keith Hopkins. Now, hang on a second. Let me finish. This is going to be reviewed by our new law firm that I'm going to bring on Saturday.
Why does Keith have to be involved in that?
Because I don't have any other attorneys to go to because I don't have approval yet.
Renee just said that he was going to hire the firm.
No, we have another firm coming on board. I got an engagement letter.
Okay.
John Carlton's group.
Oh.
Patty knows him. Yes.
So then why are we going to Keith Hawkins?
Hang on a second, because I don't have authority yet to bring on another law firm just yet.
It has to be the board.
It has to be on a board. I can't do that. So I've got, this is my friend, and he said you should do this, this, and that. Okay, this is what you should add. These were Jose's comments. He said, oh yeah, you should do this. Why? Because if you look at their engagement agreement back from 2018 and 2020, the terminations suck. There's termination rules in these engagement agreements. So what this does is it supplements it. This rules. This goes part of it. This one sucks. You know, in this dissolution agreement, they don't have to give us any of our records.
You mentioned this in January.
I mentioned it in January. Do you understand that? This exit agreement has nothing about giving us our data back. Nothing.
You don't have to yell at me.
I am yelling at people because I got to get it through their head that this is a good thing. This tells it in paragraph number 2, and you can read it. I got copies, and I want you guys to read it. In paragraph 2, you have to give us all our data. Whatever you gave to that person, like Joey G down the thing, you better have a chain of custody on it, or I'm going to sue your ass.
Well,
Okay,
again,
now-
I say throw them under the bus and get them disbarred.
Well,
If we go anywhere, that's where I want to go.
go back to Brian's comment, do we want to do that? It's going to cost us money. Now, keep in mind this, people. We owe them about $560,000.
Okay, wait a minute, hold up for a minute. I think that Patty clarified that and said that we had paid 300 already.
No. We owe them 560. That's in their recent invoice. I'm letting you know what they're... Just let me finish, Josie. That's in what they're telling us. They're telling us we owe them $560,000. Now, exactly, they got to prove it. But here's what they could do. They could sue us for it.
So, let them.
Okay, but then we got to pay for the lawsuit.
I'm sorry.
Is the membership okay with that?
Throw money
I don't
out.
care. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm okay with that. But it's going to cost us money to defend it against a law firm. That's a risk. I'm telling you guys risks. Just think about that. What I did in here, in this agreement, I held them to $478,000, which is what's in the COBO memo. This is what the COBO memo came back. The PUC said, you have $478,000 of legal expense. Jose said, I'll make it $478,000. That was his number he gave to us.
But none of that's been paid, is what you're saying.
None of that's been paid. That's the surcharge. That's in the new rate case.
And that doesn't have to be settled at any time soon, if I recall correctly.
That's correct. There's no timeline on this.
Right.
No timeline, no interest on the 478. Okay, I'm looking to the membership. This is not a termination agreement. I get this. What do you think I can do? I take this to the commission and go, hey, I got a settlement agreement on rate cases. Why are you looking at opening up a new docket on these expenses that LG filed on the 20th of December?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I talked to Merritt about it tonight. Not a bad strategy. I hold them to $478,000. No time frame, no interest. I looked at Jose on the second meeting, and I said, do you know you're bankrupting us?
He doesn't care.
No, he didn't care.
Of course he doesn't care. But he goes, what do you mean? He goes, your board authorized me to do all this. I'm like, you're right, they did. But this is a new board. And I said, I didn't authorize it, but you're killing me. So, and I run through the numbers. I said, $2,000 short every month with these new rates. So I don't know where you're going to get paid from.
Kick the can down the road like they've done us.
That's exactly what I told them. I said, I'll pay you when I can.
Right.
There you go.
I wouldn't even tell him that.
I pay you when I can.
I would have said,
Well, Josie, he still wants to sign.
we'll get you paid.
He still wants to sign us up for $478,000. So you guys look at this. If you want to move this, I'll get this thing signed. It'll be reviewed by 2 law firms. Legal advice came free of charge on doing it. My friend looked at these engagement agreements, disillusioned. Here they are. I got copies for everybody.
Yes, I want them.
I came prepared. These are the 2018 for the general counsel and the supplemental one for the rate appeal. And look at the termination. It's terrible. It sucks.
Oh, I know.
This protects us.
Who
This
originally
protects us.
wrote this letter?
What?
The termination that you're holding?
It was no.
I thought Keith reviewed it. Did
No,
he write
he
it?
reviewed it. Jose wrote it.
Oh.
And then I put it to an attorney, another person to look at it, and then I'm going to give it to John Carlton to look at it. But I want you guys to look at it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I come back to the members and the board. There's copies.
That are here.
Well, that are here. I don't, yeah, you can't give it to everybody. Nobody's going to read it. Brian.
I will.
Thank you. So lawyers have a nasty habit of logging when they do work.
Yep.
And they submit that along with their invoice.
Yep.
Did former board members sign off on those for payment?
Well, of course they did.
They did.
Rich Schaefer did.
I very much doubt you would win a lawsuit taking a legal firm to court.
No, you won't. You won't. Everybody's told me that. Every lawyer I've talked to, they go, well, and this was a good analogy. He told me that when I was on vacation, one of the guys I was with was an attorney. And I was all upset about the shenanigans of the WOPOA board. He goes, what's the problem? And I go, this, and that. And he goes, I go, we're going to get sued for this. He goes, Jeff, you know what judges are? I go, they're former lawyers. They're not gonna penalize their own people. You're gonna get screwed. You're gonna get screwed. You're gonna lose because it's a contract. We had a contract with Lloyd Gosling that Joe Gemina signed.
We had it.
Yeah, we had it. We had it. they were billing us. Nobody questioned it 2.5 years ago. Nobody questioned it.
So you did your opportunity then was to negotiate what you did.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing. And anybody who doesn't like it, shame on me.
Put it on the pile and let us know what it is.
Yeah, and then everybody's blasting me about this because I knew I had this in my back pocket. I had 2 things in my back pocket going in to see Joe. One of them was Jose. One of them was this document. Why did you submit that without board approval? It was sent to the general counsel, Code Raz, and he ignored me, and I can't stand that guy. So I am so looking forward to having board vote LG out on Saturday. I'm salivating about it. I wanted to do it on the 11th of January and I couldn't pull it off. They know it. I've sat across the table from them and I go, you're going to get fired on the 24th. It's a done deal. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. It's all we've done is protected you guys. Yeah. Josie, when he told me that?
Good point.
When he told me that, I brought the September 17th meeting up on 2023 when him and Cole came to the meeting. Were you there? With the 50 people in the audience? And only 2 people raised their hand and said, we support the rate case? And I looked at them over there and I said, why do you continue on with this strategy? You know what I got from them 2 days later? It's what the board wanted.
Joe Jimenez.
Well, that was Joe Jimenez, but at the time it was Dorothy, Rich, and Jeff Anderson.
Yeah.
And that was it. But I'm saying, you've got 50 people sitting in here that don't want you to continue on, but you continue on and build this for another $45K. So out of $560,000, I got it down to $478, which I'm hoping he's going to still approve while I get that done. But
I think you should get pennies on the dollar, actually.
you can't do it. You can't do it because we signed a contract with them, Josie.
I'm going to read it.
Go for it. It's right there. That's a copy.
Jeff.
Go ahead, Em.
I had asked Jimenez at every meeting I attended in some texts. I asked him, how many of these buildings have you challenged? And he would never answer my question. But it was either the last meeting or the meeting before I asked Schaefer. And Schaefer said, challenged, none. Reviewed, I reviewed all of them.
Yeah, he's never challenged.
I mean, you could go back to any company, any nonprofit, this amount of money, the fact that no billing, not a single billing through this whole process was ever challenged by the board. By the old board. Never. And you know what? Why, in my opinion, is because the higher those billings were, the bigger the rebates back to Who was taking those rebates? I don't know.
Well, they not only rebates, but they were just we were a cash cow. We were a cash cow to them.
Yeah.
We were a total cash cow. And I will tell you this. I don't know if anybody knew this, but like in it was September, October. I sent a note, and I think I talked about this board meeting. I sent a note up to Cole Raz. I said, I want to make sure that you are not politicking inside the government, at the PUC, anywhere about our case, about Windermere, so on, at any level within Lloyd Gosling. Keith, who does a lot of work within the state government, is guaranteed that they've been politicking to stop what's going on in the
I
radio.
know. Yeah, they have. That's their
bread and butter. It's their bread and butter, and what they're doing is they're back at the Capitol right now talking to people about Windermere. Maybe not right now, but that's what they do. We got to get them out of here. And that's what our speculation is, why all of a sudden that December 20th memo came up, in this recent filing. They found a back door. That's why they think it's a separate document. They don't understand why it went up to a separate docket. Why it's out of the rate appeal case and now it's a separate docket.
Well, we anticipated that the whole time.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, well, now it's official. That's what the ruling came down, and now it's a separate docket for the rate.
The docket was closed at the time they filed.
Yep.
That's the real heated issue.
Yep, that's the heated issue. And they filed something on the 20th to say, oops, God, we got more expenses we didn't put in there.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, and then they filed it. I know what they did. And they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and I went after them. I was livid with them, and they just ignored me. They were like, oh yeah, we were on that call. And I'm like, what about my memo? Well, Rich said it was okay. There was a bunch of chatter back and forth. There was bullshit because Rich was on the call too. because he inserted himself as a, you know,
Is he resigning anytime soon?
well, probably on Saturday he will. So anyways, Brian, did you have a question? Okay.
Next agenda item, there's one?
So I was a little passionate about that because I thought it was kind of bullshit on Friday. But I didn't, I'm telling you, I wrote those things a long time ago and I wouldn't, why would I want $200,000 more of expenses on legal fees? I'm a ratepayer just like you. So anyways, that's all we got. So we will vote to terminate LG on Saturday. They know it, and I can't wait to send the email up to the partner, senior partner, which is not Jose, it's Dave. David, what's his name? Can't remember his name. But it'll go right to him. And I'll say, stand down, no more. Don't even touch anything with the rate case. We will take it over. We will take it over. It's going to be a little dicey inside, according to Merritt today, that, you know, how they're going to work that. But I told them, I said, anything comes through, it's not going to be allowed. And I'll have to send it, we'll have to send I have to file something within the docket. within the rate appeal docket.
Well, what I do know is that there's 3 cases right now pending against the, in PUC. And with that said, well, apparently there's yours, there's ours, which is Patty and mine, and then there's another one with the separate rate case expenses.
Right.
And so those are all going to come before the commissioners.
Yes, yes. What she's talking about with mine, that's the compliance filing.
Yeah.
So that needs to just be in order. It's been put forth, so now they're just waiting for the order. The other one is the rate appeal, which is the rate case, and that's the one we're waiting for an order. The new one is the rate expenses, which it's going to go through a formal review. But that's why I'm trying to get this. And did you take all of them? Anybody want to read? Oh, do you just give you that? Anybody want to read what I'm trying to amend on there? Did I give you them all, Josie?
Yeah, I got it. Well,
No. Did I give you the amendments? I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. These are just one. It's only one.
Oh, gotcha.
It's 5 items.
Are you gonna copy too?
Yeah, I'll pass them around. There's plenty there if anybody wants to read them.
What it is already.
And again, I have to still a friend because I can't go to LG with that. So, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, don't go to LG, please.
No, we're not going to LG.
On a happier note, I just got through reading some good stories about grants. There are hundreds of millions of dollars available for infrastructure, especially water. Grants available. I don't know how to research them, how to find them.
Good.
But I've heard all kinds of good stories I've read about people that got couldn't get their water supplies up, they couldn't get their roads up, they couldn't get their stuff.
Didn't Tammy tell us we could do that?
You can.
Yeah,
And you know,
yeah.
here's how this works.
For the
When you guys
USDA?
do that, you are going to actually have to be under the USDA bylaws.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah, no, but you're absolutely right about that. I think that's, which is okay.
When you
That
get
is
a
fine.
list, when you get a list from our management company, our SERP, whatever.
Yeah.
If you get they said they had to provide a list of all the structure and what needed to be replaced and all this kind of stuff, what dollar amount, and then they applied for grants.
Taping, Janet?
Oh. I was texting with my husband, is that okay? Thank you, he asked that I want him to come in.
Yeah.
To come in.
Okay.
I have some good news.
What's that?
I switched to Geico. I'm saving a bundle.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Topics?
Where's the pizza?
The what?
Where's the bourbon?
Wait a minute, one more question. Hang on, one more question. Jay, you got something?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll make it really brief.
Stand up if you don't mind.
I'll make it brief. Thought I would have more of an explanation, but the evening kind of provided that, I guess. But for those I haven't met, I'm Jay Beavers. I turn my hat in the ring. Lynn and I are relatively newcomers to this community. We've been here less than 2 years and threw my hat in the ring for board of director position, director number 5. And I gotta say that, you know, the self-imposed welcoming committee here is not welcoming. And the slander and the accusations are, for lack of a better word, pitiful. I'm not gonna stand for it. I mean, especially on a public forum. So my hat is out of the ring. I met Julie. She's phenomenal.
Yes, she is.
She's extremely well qualified. And,
She is.
and thank you, Julie, for not jumping on that bandwagon for accusations about who I'm affiliated with and what I've done. And fortunately, I have a 40-year business career, and the hundreds and hundreds of people that have worked for me, they're the ones that determine my name, my character, my reputation, my business ethics, and all the above. So I think Julie's phenomenal. And I have offered Renee and Jeff to help in any way I can.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Sorry to hear that, Jay. Sorry to hear that. That's how it. That's why you're leaving. Is
You're a wise man.
Yeah.
Right.
You see how brutal it is, man. You just
I don't want to
Yeah.
one thing and come. You know.
Take our
Well,
slides
thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what this is basically going to mean is we're going to have a supermajority on the board come Saturday, and that's why you asked me a question whether Rich is going to resign. I think so. So, yeah. So we'll have another open seat. So, who wants to fill it?
I'm not. I'm already on the POA
We
board.
need Patty on the board.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
somebody
Yep,
that knows the
absolutely.
legal.
I would love to have that. That would be wonderful.
That would, yeah.
I'll buy you a good Christmas present too. Whatever.
We've asked her. You guys can convince her. You guys can convince her.
You can help carry me around my crutches.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to take your notes. We'll see everybody on Saturday. And if you guys got any questions about what I've done, please call me.
I want to say welcome to the neighborhood.
I got it. We're staying back from the airfield is great.
We see that.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen you. Yeah, I'm not. Yes.
Everybody told me, oh, you got power to kill AG or LG. Exactly. I know. That's why I couldn't.